The first scene of the movie depicts Dr. Freddy Ginwala, a socially awkward dentist sitting in a cafe while waiting for his date. We discover that Freddy has been searching for a soulmate for 5 years without success. Luckily for Freddy, the woman arrives, but he's so excited that he knocks over the glass of water on the table. Freddy gives the lady a beautiful bouquet, but while they talk, things get awkward after the woman catches Freddy acting so weirdly, staring at the necklace on her chest multiple times. The woman stands up in anger, but curtly reveals that she had an appointment with a client. She tells him that she'll get back to him later, but we notice that she has left her bouquet. Freddy realizes that she won't be calling, and he is hurt by the negative outcome of his date and spends another lonely night painting planes with his best friend, Hardy. Freddy's grandaunt, Aunt Persis, calls to check up on him, and she's equally devastated to learn that he's depressed about the negative outcome of his date. The next day, Freddy goes about his normal routine at work, but once he gets home, he receives a call from a woman who discovered him on a dating app. She tells Freddy that she has studied his profile and believes that they are a perfect match. She fixes a date with Freddy, and Freddy asks them to meet at Blue Cafe, the same place he met his previous dates. The following day, Freddy gets a beautiful bouquet and waits for the woman for what seems like an eternity. He soon realizes that the woman is unlikely to show up. As he's about to leave, a group of friends mock him about wasting his money on expensive flowers, and the men repeat the exact same words that his date had said. Here, Freddy realizes that they had probably impersonated a woman and set up the date in the first place. Meanwhile, a Blue Cafe employee reveals that Freddy has been coming over for the past 5 years and feels sorry for him. Later on, Freddy goes out on occasion with his Aunt Persis, and she pesters him about getting a girlfriend. Freddy informs her that he'll get one before she dies, but his aunt hurts his feelings after implying that he won't get one in the next 100 years. She then reveals that he has always been shy right from when he was little and asks him to get out of his shell and speak to any of the pretty ladies around. Just then, his aunt notices a beautiful lady smiling their way and asks Freddy if he knows her. Freddy looks at the lady and is awestruck by how beautiful she is. After some words of encouragement from his aunt, he walks over to her, but instead of instigating a normal conversation, he gets nervous and asks why she is staring at him. The lady implies that she had not been staring at him, and then her husband arrives. The husband assumes that his wife has been flirting with Freddy, and the drunk man attacks Freddy, threatening to kill Freddy if he ever approaches his wife again. Later that night, the beautiful woman haunts Freddy's dreams, and he is unable to get his mind off. He returns to work the following day and treats an old lady before asking his assistant to send in the new client. Surprisingly, it turns out to be the woman of his dreams. The lady apologizes for her husband's ill treatment the previous day and informs him that a friend has referred her to him. She introduces herself as Kay Naz and tells him that she would like to remove her wisdom tooth. Freddy inspects her tooth, and he's beguiled by how beautiful she is. He then asks her to come back for the tooth extraction the following day. Before walking out, Kay Naz notices a picture of Freddy's mother, who was a popular singer and cellist. She reveals that his mother had inspired her to play the cello, but she had stopped recently. As a result, Freddy becomes more enamored by her and has vivid illusions of having a family with Kay Naz. The next day, Kay Naz arrives at the clinic, and Freddy sends off his assistant before starting the procedure of extracting her wisdom tooth. But before the anesthesia wears off, he covers his face around Kay Naz's face and tells her that he loves her. Kay Naz wakes up a few moments later, and Freddy tells her that the procedure is over and asks her to come back for a checkup the following day. He asks Kay Naz if she has any allergies, and she tells him that she's allergic to dishwashing liquid and certain ingredients, so she could never wash dishes without gloves. After she leaves, he looks up her medical records, obtains her address, and makes the decision to pay an unannounced visit. Later, Kay Naz returns home to a brooding husband, Rustam, who asked her for dinner. She informs him that she had visited the dentist to get her tooth fixed and had not gotten around to fixing dinner. Rustam, who hasn't eaten all day, is so hungry that he blames his wife for it. Amid the unfolding events, Freddy is engaged in some unsettling behavior as he is observed lurking around Kay Naz's residence. While hoping to catch a glimpse of Kay Naz, Freddy witnesses Rustam assaulting her instead. Although he initially considers intervening, he quickly changes his mind due to the difficulty of explaining his presence and departs. That night, Freddy experiences a traumatic nightmare from his youth, recalling a tragic incident in which his father killed his mother and then himself. The following day, Kay Naz misses her scheduled medical checkup, prompting Freddy to call her and encourage her to meet so he can ensure her post-surgery healing is progressing well. Kay Naz initially hesitates but ultimately agrees. They meet at a nearby park, and Freddy notices fresh wounds on Kay Naz's face. Concerned, he questions her, leading her to reveal that she is trapped in an abusive relationship with Rustam and fears for her life if she attempts to leave. Freddy decides to ask Kanaz out on a date, which prompts him to spruce up with new clothes and haircut. The next day, he waits for Rustam to leave Kanaz's house before calling her to propose the date, which she accepts. As Freddy and Kanaz spend more time together, their feelings for each other grow, and it doesn't take long before they fall in love. During a movie date at the cinema, Freddy starts kissing her and they share a passionate kiss, but Kanaz abruptly leaves afterward. Freddy tries to contact her later, but she remains unresponsive. When he visits her, he discovers she has been beaten again by her husband. After offering comfort, he proposes marriage, but she reminds him she is already married and confesses things might have been different if she were single. At home, Freddy tells his aunt that he has a beautiful girlfriend and even mentions plans for marriage, conveniently omitting the fact that she is married. At this point, Freddy decides to confront Rustam. He meets Kanaz and suggests an extreme solution, killing Rustam. Scared, Kanaz is initially resistant, but eventually gives in to Freddy's wishes. Freddy assures Kanaz that he will handle everything and asks her to avoid contacting him for a week. He proceeds to acquire a gun and train himself in firearm use, all the while imagining himself getting married to Kanaz after he has finished off Rustam. Later that week, Freddy waits for Rustam outside his home and follows him as he goes for a jog. He contemplates using the gun, but ultimately opts to hit Rustam with his car. He hesitates initially, but he is driven by his love for Kanaz. He runs over Rustam 3 times, eventually killing him. After taking Rustam's life, Freddy cancels his appointments and retreats to his family's farmhouse in the village for a week. When he arrives in the village, he envisions a future with Kanaz. As time passes, the police investigate Rustam's death, but are unable to find any evidence. To divert attention away from himself, Freddy engaged in charitable work for the local villagers for several days. Before returning to the city, Freddy finds some guy and gets his car fixed and heads straight for Kanaz's apartment. However, when he visits Kanaz, he is surprised to find a stranger, Raymond, opening the door. It turns out that he is Kanaz's secret boyfriend, and Kanaz asks Freddy to leave, leading Freddy to question the situation. Freddy soon discovers that Kanaz has been using him to eliminate Rustam. Kanaz threatens to inform the police that Freddy had stalked her and killed Rustam out of jealousy, while showing him incriminating photos that she planned to use as evidence. Enraged, Freddy approaches Kanaz menacingly, but Raymond intervenes. He beats Freddy to the ground, while Kanaz says he will never fall in love with a freak like him. Dejectedly, Freddy returns home and wallows in sorrow, while Hardy tries to calm him down. In the meantime, Kanaz and Raymond discuss their plans to expand Rustam's restaurant into a global enterprise, fulfilling Kanaz's long-standing dream of owning her husband's restaurant. The next day, Freddy destroys all the clothes she bought for his planned date with Kanaz. He then visits her restaurant, where he orders a drink and observes Kanaz and Raymond. Raymond confronts Freddy, but Kanaz intervenes. Freddy orders a drink repeatedly, but Raymond collects his drink from the waiter and spits in it before giving it to him. To his utter surprise, Freddy drinks it with a calm expression on his face. Freddy simply asks Kanaz to apologize to him, but Raymond does this to him instead. Raymond warns Freddy that they have those photos of him stalking Kanaz and all the messages he sent her, and if he doesn't stop this nonsense, he will give them to the police. Determined to get back at Kanaz and Raymond, Freddy waits for them to leave their apartment, then hires a locksmith to break in. He switches Kanaz's face wash with liquid dishwasher detergent and adds salt to their food, exploiting Kanaz's allergies. Unexpectedly, Kanaz and Raymond return early, prompting Freddy to hide on the balcony. While the couple shared an intimate moment in the adjacent room, Freddy adds sleeping drugs to their food before making his exit. That night, Freddy sneaks back into their apartment, finding Kanaz and Raymond in deep sleep. He accesses Kanaz's phone and sends himself a warning text from the device. He then deletes any incriminating photos from Raymond's phone. After taking out his anger, Freddy goes outside to tamper with Raymond's car by removing the brake fluid. Upon waking up, Kanaz notices her allergic reaction in the mirror and screams. As they rush to the hospital, their car's brakes fail, leading to a crash. Although they survive, Kanaz accuses Raymond of endangering her life. The following day, Kanaz learns that her restaurant has been ordered to close due to a customer finding a lizard in their food and posting a negative review. While the couple is at the restaurant to discuss the issue, their private lives are harmed even more. Freddy has access to Raymond's Facebook account and released an intimate photograph of the couple for all to see. Frustrated by the series of unfortunate events, Kanaz suspects Freddy's involvement and, with Raymond, decides to confront him. Freddy opens the door to his house and he seems to already know that the couple will seek him. However, Raymond joins the confrontation in a brutal way. Surprisingly, Freddy always seems to be one step ahead. He has already called the police before the couple arrive. Kay-Naz manipulates the situation, telling the police that Freddy had stalked her and killed Rustam out of jealousy, that she can't provide any evidence. Freddy deleted all incriminating photos, and one of the police officers can't believe the accusations, even mentioning how well-respected Dr. Freddy is in the area. He orders Kay-Naz and Raymond to leave, and Freddy smiles with satisfaction as his plan appears to be working. A few days later, after taking a peaceful walk with his aunt, Freddy returns home only to discover a bullet in front of his door and that his apartment has been demolished. He calls Kay-Naz and tells them that he already knows they were behind this, and that's why he left the snake in their apartment. Hearing this, the two begin to panic and try to find the snake but fail. For their own safety, they decide to stay in a motel because the snake could be anywhere. In the motel, they gleefully inform Freddy they had turned his beloved turtle, Hardy, into soup. Freddy checks his CCTV footage, and here's when he finds out that the couple did indeed murder Hardy, while Kay-Naz suggests they have to get rid of Freddy. Because of this, a vengeful feeling ignites within him, and after disposing of Hardy's belongings, he decides to exact proper revenge. Using his high IQ, he instructs a homeless man to inform the police that he witnessed Rustam's murder. He tells him his license plate number and pays the man. As a result, the police come to Freddy's clinic and interrogate the doctor. Freddy lies and tells them that Raymond had taken his car to kill Rustam and proves it by showing the false messages which he had sent himself secretly when he was in Kay-Naz's apartment. The cherry on top is the undeniable CCTV footage of Raymond's break-in at his apartment. Now that Kay-Naz and Raymond are the main suspects, the police contact the couple, requesting their presence at the police station for a statement. After the call with the police ends, Freddy, who is now on his way to his remote house in the village, calls them and tells them that he can make all of this stop if they come and apologize to him in his farmhouse. Freddy casually asks them to bring a suitcase along, citing that he'll bring something back upon his return. Desperate, the couple reluctantly agrees, but their true intentions are to kill him in that very house. Sometime later, Kay-Naz and Raymond pull up to the farmhouse, where Freddy warmly welcomes them, concealing his simmering rage. While offering them a drink, he casually pulls out a gun and places it on the counter before pulling out a bottle of wine. Raymond discreetly signals Kay-Naz to seize the weapon, so Kay-Naz slowly approaches and says sorry for what she's done. However, her facade crumbles as she takes Freddy's gun, and she asks Freddy if the gun is his father's gun, adding that killing him with it will be even more embarrassing. Kay-Naz's sinister plan takes a twist when she pulls the trigger, only to discover that the gun contains no bullets. Raymond seizes the moment, launching an attack on Freddy, who quickly retrieves a flashlight. Raymond makes fun of Freddy's flashlight, but inside it hides a shocking secret, a taser. And so, Freddy manages to incapacitate both Raymond and Kay-Naz. Moments later, the couple regains consciousness, bound to chairs. Freddy, with a sadistic glint in his eye, brandishes a dentist's kit, reminiscing about a time when tooth extractions were performed without anesthesia. Meanwhile, the police set out to find the missing couple, prompted by their failure to appear at the station and a trail of evidence that suggests they might be on the run. CCTV footage from their apartment shows the couple leaving with a suitcase, which only added to the officers' suspicions. Back at the farmhouse, Freddy allows Kay-Naz to speak. She says Raymond is the mastermind behind their actions and reveals his responsibility for Hardy's demise. To check if Kay-Naz was lying about everything, Freddy brings out his mother's cello and challenges Kay-Naz to play it, testing her claim of being inspired by his mother's musical talents. Well, Kay-Naz's lie is out, just as Freddy thought it would be. This girl can't play the cello when she fumbles with it. Freddy returns her to her chair, and with chilling determination, he proceeds to extract every single tooth from both Raymond and Kay-Naz, all without the mercy of anesthesia. Their agonizing torment finally comes to a gruesome climax as Freddy, devoid of remorse, deposits the couple into a freshly dug grave. The pain they endure is excruciating as they lay helpless, waiting to be buried alive. As Freddy buries Kay-Naz, he confesses that he still loves her, and with a bitter sense of irony, he realizes the cruel joke that life has played on him. The movie concludes with Freddy lying between the buried bodies. A smile dances across his face before the screen fades to black. So, what did you think of this movie? Leave it in the comments below, and if you liked the video, please like and subscribe for more movie recaps. See you in the next video.